You're listening to a Soul One podcast.
All right. Taylor, I was about to say we're back, but if anyone is listening still to our podcast, there's really been no gap, so they wouldn't notice a difference. I just realized that as I was speaking.
I will pat us on the back, Mike, because aside from the two random hiatuses we had to have, one when I was sick and then this summer, we've been very good. It's very rare, knock on wood, that we skip a week.
Yeah, and we've been doing a good job over the holidays. If we recorded some extra things and we hit all the kind of deadlines we wanted to get our best episodes and worst episodes of the year out. So yeah, I think we did a pretty good job.
Say what you want about us, Mike. We give the people the content.
That's right. Whether they listen or like it or care, we don't know.
Or if it's good.
Or if it's good. We don't know. We just don't know. I think our fans will like this particular episode.
Yes.
As you and I come back from a break to talk about Stranger Things 5. How were your holidays?
We were sick for half of it. We
Okay.
got the flu that they've been reporting on. Well, I assume we didn't do any tests, obviously, but I assume the boys had the flu they got it on Boxing Day. So at least I did tell people, I said, as long as we make it through Boxing Day, and we did. It was fine. It was, it's fine. It was the holidays. It is what it is, right? It's kind of busy and hectic, and I'm not a Christmas person, just like I'm not a Disney person. And I survived, and now it's January, and that's all that matters. What about
absolutely.
you, Mike?
This is I would say the busier holiday season I've had in a couple of years.
Multiple houses.
No rat getting into my house. Though my cat is very angry about the lack of time I spent here over the holidays. So she's been waking me up every hour on the hour since I've been home as I've been trying to sleep.
To make sure that you're still there, still breathing.
Still breathing. Treats. Yeah, just sort of walking across me while I'm trying to sleep, kind of waking up. The first night I spent back here after being gone for so long, she wouldn't stop waking me up. It was just like having this ball of fur punch you in the face every couple of hours. It was wild.
I think I read this, and I'm not making it up. She is checking to make sure that you're still alive.
Yeah, cats, because cats apparently don't fall into the same deep sleep we do, half their brain stays really aware of what's going on. They are actually checking to see if you're alive or not. But I don't think she realizes she's waking me up completely, and it's hard for me to just go back to sleep. Because cats view us as big cats, so they don't really get that we're something different.
Big kittens, technically. She thinks that you're her little baby. The visual of her walking across you, she's using you as a highway.
That's
right.
Highway
of the bed.
Yeah.
To get from one side of the bed to the other.
Yeah, so it's funny because, I didn't do a lot of work over the past 2 weeks, and yet I feel exhausted and tired.
From all the socializing.
Yeah, exactly. It's too much.
And the cat.
Yeah, now I'm back to just this routine and just around the house, and it's been fine. It's been okay.
Yep. We survived another holiday season, and you didn't get sick by the sounds of it, so that's a plus.
No, which was good and surprising. I did not get sick. I would say, since the weather in Ottawa has been so cold that I have felt I'm stuffed up a little bit here and there, but I think my body's just getting used to the change in weather. It's supposed to be much more mild this week. So actually this is the week I'd be fearful of getting sick, because it was cold, and now suddenly it's going to be very mild. I'm worried that that's going to, damp, things will melt. I'm worried that that's what's going to do it.
Well, we shall see. We'll tune in 2 weeks from now, Mike, and we'll see.
When we skip an episode
Yep.
because of illness, you will know.
Yeah.
I guess that prediction was right. Well, today, as I mentioned, we're talking Stranger Things 5, the final season of Stranger Things. It debuted around American Thanksgiving with 4 episodes, and then they put out, I think, 3 episodes on Christmas Day, and then
Yep.
the kind of eighth episode, the finale, was on New Year's Eve. So we decided,
And in
we're
some movie theaters, allegedly.
yeah, I didn't know they were
Not,
going to
I
do
don't
that.
think in Canada.
No, I didn't see it anywhere. I mean, it was a 2-hour episode, so it makes sense to put that
Although I
in a
have
movie
thoughts
theater.
about that, Mike.
Oh, I know you do. Uh, I know you have lots to say about that.
My Christmas present to you, Mike, is watching the whole season. Because originally, I told you, I don't know if I told you on air or off air. I was like, oh, you're lucky if you'll get 2 episodes out of
Yep,
me.
you did. You
But
definitely did say that.
for you and for the listeners, I buckled in. I sacrificed all of my naps. Well, I should say I sacrificed at least 8 naps in order to get through this season. So
I
you're
was
welcome.
shocked when I got that text from you that you were ready to do Stranger Things 5. I was ready to talk about it solo. So
I was
I'm
like,
really
nope,
glad.
strap in and make sure you allocate enough time because I gave up what was it? At least 10 hours, I would say, because every episode was like a little bit over an hour.
Yeah, every episode was a little over an hour, and then the finale was 2. I think
Yeah,
that's
so I
about what it was.
sacrificed between 9 and 10 hours for this. So strap in. You're all gonna listen to me complain now for the next 40 minutes. It wasn't all bad. You know what, Mike? The because by the time I watched it obviously over Christmas break, and then I caught up, and then I had to wait for the New Year's Eve episode. A lot of, I wouldn't say I saw spoilers, but a lot of people were saying how bad the season was. So I had very low expectations going in. I don't know how you felt. What was your
Yeah,
expectation level?
I didn't see a lot of that until I started watching, thankfully, so none of that really interfered with my thoughts because I thought it was also um, I don't disagree with all the criticism that I heard. I do feel that the 5th season was overbloated. I did feel like it was a step down from what we've seen before. I felt like it got a little caught up, which we'll talk about, in like CGI battles and fights that weren't really part of the charm of the first 4 seasons. With that being said, some of the criticism I don't agree with. Like I think there is some good in this season as well. I think there's a couple things that they did do well. There's a couple things that they hit well. One of the things that I think did happen a little bit with this show, and you can tell me what you think about this, Taylor. This is just a theory. I think people like the actors more than they like the characters and the story.
Yeah.
So I think that's what drove people back, is that they really like this relatively likable cast, right? Like other
You
than
have good chemistry.
yeah, good chemistry. Like even other than like Winona Ryder, who's like a little weird, no one even
I
has like a terrible like reputation. Like everyone seems to like them. They're all active on social media. Like even like again, what I just said about Winona Ryder aside, she has such a huge career and is so beloved for a lot of the movies that she did, and she's amazing in this show. So I think that there's this
Okay, time
likability
out, Mike.
factor.
This
Yeah,
is what I'm dying to ask you.
yeah,
Because so you think she's amazing in this show. I
I
think
do.
I brought this up season 4, where I'm like, I feel like Winona Ryder is not a good actress in this show. And she's always at like 10, like immediately with like her eyes.
Yeah,
Like her eyes
yeah.
are always like so wide, so puzzled, so confused. And I'm like, this is not the Winona Ryder I remember growing up with. But
Yeah, like I think she's really good in the role of a mother that is
frazzled.
frazzled, obsessed with saving her son and protecting. Like that, like her through the first like 3 seasons, I think is peak what she could do in the show. And I
Right.
think like everything else, it's sort of diminished over time. But I think like the way she's overprotective of Will not only makes a lot of sense for what everything that happened to him, but who like she presented this character to be, which is a little like off kilter a little bit. Like she's a little strange, she's a little over the top, and that's why like no one ever believes her when she says anything, and that's what made like Will going missing at the beginning to me so interesting. So I do think she's, again, what I said was she's amazing in this show. I'm not saying she's an amazing actor. I'm saying she was so well cast in this
So
particular
I think
role.
maybe I think she's a better actor than she is on this show. Like I think almost the reverse of what you think. But
Mm.
fair enough. We don't have a lot of time, and we have so many people to talk about.
There's so this cast is massive. Like
Yeah.
this, you can't talk about one person. It's too big.
Yeah, we got to keep going. We got to keep moving along. And they added new people this season.
As they always do, like as they've been
Yep.
doing, is
A
adding
little
lots of
extra
new people.
sidekicks. First question for you, Mike, like, before we get into like the actual review of this season. Spoilers are okay?
Yes, we're gonna be full spoilers today. I don't think there's any way to talk about it otherwise. I think if you're a massive fan, you've already watched it by this point. We waited. I think we waited, Taylor, to do it this way. Like really, I mean, you obviously
Yeah.
didn't have time to watch immediately, but I remember us just saying like, let's just do it when it's all over. Like, why do
Yeah.
like a part one, part two? Like,
Mm-hmm.
well, we'll just wait, review all 8 episodes. So I say full spoilers.
So if you haven't watched, pause this episode to watch 9 to 10 hours of content and then listen to the 40 minutes of this episode. But yes, spoilers. So
Speaking, I have a question for you because
yeah, go for it.
you already brought this up. You said that you brought up that you heard that it was being released into theaters. I didn't know that until it happened. Like I had no idea that that
Mhm.
was a thing. Have you watched any of the like videos people have posted of people reacting in the theaters to the finale?
Oh
Have you watched
no,
them
is
yet?
it
Okay.
good or bad? The reaction
It's
videos.
pretty interesting. Like the reactions are good. Like obviously it's a bunch of Stranger Things fans, but
Sure, the diehards.
specifically, yeah, like specifically there was the only thing I did read a lot about was there's a lot of, I want to say it's rumors, but it's actually concern. Fans were going nuts and were concerned that Steve was going to die. Like
Right.
that was a massive like fan theory. There was a lot of reasons why that they brought up that they thought it was being foreshadowed that he was going to die. And there's that moment in the finale where he loses grip on that tower and starts to fall, and Jonathan catches him. And that moment gets this massive scream,
Like,
and anger and people yelling until it cut out, and one person yells, "Did someone break it?" Because there's like a random black.
It's like a black. It's like a. It
Yeah.
cuts to black. I think.
Just the black, yeah, which is weird. And then, of course, they did that for obviously dramatic effect.
Yeah.
Because then when we come back, there's Steve hanging and Jonathan, of course, considering.
No, it's not Jonathan. Is it?
Yeah, it's
isn't
Jonathan.
It Dustin?
No, it's Jonathan.
Oh, okay.
That's, I think, what the big moment is that these two have hated
Right.
each other
They hate each
for so
other.
long, and yet Jonathan saves his life
Yeah.
at that moment. So, yeah, I thought, I always find that stuff really interesting, fan reactions to stuff, and it's, what I missed about all the Marvel movies was being able to be in a room with a bunch of fans and react to the same things.
Yeah.
That was kind of interesting and cool and neat. But it's just funny how the most talked about rumor of what was going to happen, people were talking about it in a like scared way. They really didn't want it to happen. They didn't want Steve to die. And again, this is why I'm saying, like, I think people like the actors more than they like the shows or the characters. Like, I really think it's about these people, which again, I don't know if I'm honestly trying to make a point with that or not, but I just think that there's diminishing returns in the show. There are a lot of issues specifically with the season, but I do think what brought people back in such a big way wasn't even necessarily the story. They
They wanted closure with the actors and the characters.
Yeah.
Steve, the actor who plays Steve, and I forget his name.
I don't have
Joe?
it off it. Joe Carey. Yeah.
Joe Carey. He kind of did like a tribute on Instagram or like behind the scenes pictures, like a carousel of pictures, and it was like, thanks so much to the fans, we grew up with you. And I think that really accurately sums up what you're describing, Mike, is that it's been 5 seasons, 9 years, and we really did, like, the kids, quote unquote kids, because Joe's character and Nancy and Jonathan, they're all a little bit older, but they did, that's 9 years. That it's, I think it's the same way people are attached to the Harry Potter cast, the original Harry Potter cast, because I know they're rebooting it for the HBO, but That's the sense that it's like a parasocial relationship, but on steroids, because the difference with the Harry Potter kids is social media wasn't big then.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that that makes sense. The social media aspect is huge because they're all big on it. They're all younger. They all kind of grew up with that technology. They know how to use it better. They all have like a following
Yeah.
in different ways too. They all, some of them have music careers and all this other stuff going on. So yeah, I think that that brought a lot of people back. I think for me, what hurt this season was it felt over bloated. It felt,
The opposite of rushed.
yeah, like the opposite of rushed. It didn't feel like concise. I thought there was too many scenes of kind of the same exposition dump and explaining plans and things over and over again that made it feel a little repetitive. Like that, I kept being like, okay, like get to it, like get to the next
Mhm.
thing. But again, like that, we're gonna kind of talk about it. I think a good place to just sort of dive into it here is to kind of go our overall impressions of the season itself, and then specifically, I would say spend a little more time on the finale and talk a bit
Mhm.
about how things all ended. I just want to start off by saying I thought the season actually was off to an okay start. I liked the
The
what they
first
did.
episode was good,
Yeah, like the time. It's because we got to see them live in the town.
and they were all
Whereas,
together.
yeah, two through seven, we didn't get that. It was basically like a completely different like action movie. The first season, we got a sense of what they were doing in Hawkins. The time jump worked. Under military control stuff worked. Like I'm always a big fan of seeing what you can do with Murray and having him be the delivery
Mhm.
person was
He's
great.
fun.
Yeah, like that. All that stuff I think worked for me.
I agree. This was my major complaint. I think of season 3 or 4, the one where Hopper was in Russia.
Yeah,
Is that season 4?
that's most of season 4. Yeah,
So, my biggest gripe is that it's exactly what you're saying, Mike. Like, the characters are so lovable and they have such good chemistry. I think the show is at its strongest when the cast is together,
yeah,
essentially solving the mystery. But by season 5, there isn't a mystery. Not really.
no,
There's a little bit of a mystery with Dr. K, but I would say that's a B plot. Um, and they very quickly, within the end of the episode 1, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, they divide off into their little groups, and then they divide further by episode 2 and 3. Like, at one point, Dustin, Jonathan, Nancy, and Steve
yeah,
are all together,
yeah,
and then within an episode they've broken off into two smaller groups.
yeah,
So that has always been my issue when you talk about how the show has kind of diminished over time. The bigger the show got in terms of mythology and multiple zones, or whatever you want to say it, like, whether they're in Russia or they're in the Upside Down, like, the more layers they added and the bigger the story got, the less interested I was. And I think that was my major complaint of season 4. And it's how I feel about Game of Thrones. um it's like you want to skip the scenes of the people you're not particularly interested in. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
And I agree. I think that the biggest weakness this season had was trying to find something for everyone to do by splitting them apart, which I do think is a
Yeah.
mistake. I think we want to see these people together to a certain way. And I think the other thing is they spent too much time on this like hunt for Vecna, which
Yeah.
I understand he's the big villain, that's where you kind of left us, but doing that time jump to me made sense to slow things down a bit. So you're slowing it down to put us back into kind of the world of Hawkins, seeing people live their day-to-day lives and not spending the entire season in the Upside Down, just to spend the entire season in the Upside Down to learn, okay, it's not a different world, it's a gateway to a different world. Okay,
Oh
fine. But it's
my
so,
gosh.
all that got so convoluted and so overblown beyond, I just think of the simplicity of the first couple seasons. This felt too big and too complex, and too many scenes of Nancy and
Overhead projectors.
yeah, yes, overhead projectors, seeing Nancy and Mike and all these people like, we're going to now explain things, and there's just too many of that. And I get that one or two of those is great, and it's part of the charm of the show, but I would have definitely been willing to shorten the run length of episodes, tighten things up, spend a little bit more time with them dealing with the bullies of Hawkins and all the kind of issues with the town people and people still not knowing what's going on and being tense, being under military control, and then work Vecna back in, as opposed to kind of this, we're going to spend basically the entire season trying to kill this one villain. It just felt too long.
I two things came to mind. Number one, I absolutely hated the wormhole. And I appreciate that I don't like science, and when things lean into alternate dimensions and using too much physics, like, you kind of lose me anyways. But I thought the addition of the wormhole was unnecessary, convoluted, too confusing. So that's number one. Number two, what you're saying about spending more time in Hawkins. I just thought of this, Mike. I didn't really think about this while I was watching it because I just mentioned that Dr. K was a B plot. This season would have been, I think, more effective if it was almost treated like a Buffy episode or Buffy season, where Dr. K is the big bad for the season, but it's leading up to the fight with Vecna.
Mm-hmm.
Because there was some interesting things happening where, they think, I don't agree with them reintroducing Kaylee or
Yeah.
8. The sister. I don't agree with that at all. I don't think that was a great plot point, but you could have still done all that stuff with the pregnant women, and you're looking for 11 because they want to duplicate the experiment. So, but that didn't have to happen in the Upside Down. That could have happened in Hawkins' lab. And that's like, and because there's that point where 11 thinks that they're harboring Henry, but in reality, they're looking for 11 to continue the experiment. Yeah. So that, keep all of that plot. Make that like episodes 1 through 6. And then 7 and 8 is realizing, oh no, they don't actually have Vecna. Get rid of K or whatever. And then the 7 and 8, you're focusing on the big bad, the ultimate big bad. The other thing I want to mention, Mike, and this might be because there was so much time in between season 4 and season 5, I completely forgot or did not know that Henry Vecna, that guy, is separate from the Mind Flayer. That also was super confusing to me.
Yeah,
did you remember that?
I do remember he was separate. Yes, I don't. Again, all that
he's kind of the puppet of the Mind Flayer. I don't remember that.
So that was supposed to be a reveal. That bit. So him being separate. Yes, I just thought the Mind Flayer was kind of like the Demo Dogs, where I just thought they were under his control, or he just like created them. That's what I thought. That moment was supposed to be this big reveal of like, he actually is under the control of the Mind Flayer, like Will was, but the difference being he's embraced it.
Yeah,
like that was
the dark side.
Yes, and that was supposed to be a big reveal, and I think that was completely mishandled. That wasn't clear enough. If you want to build up, like, I would have been fine with that. If like, here's your 8-episode season, halfway through we learn that Vecna's not the real villain, and it's the Mind Flayer infecting Vecna. Even if you want to say Henry's too far gone, he's not going to come back, whatever, you could have like, I think that potential connection you have between Will and Henry was completely brushed over. Like that, like Will could have spent an episode trying to convince Henry to come back, and instead of having Max go through Henry's memories, it's Will who goes through and discovers all these things and like kind of tries to use it against him. Like, you could have done, I think, more with that, and I don't quite understand why we had to trade that out for one. Like, all that we could have done, we traded it out for 1 or 2 more scenes with an overhead projector. Or like massive battles where all these 20-something-year-olds now just are fully decked out with guns.
Rambo.
It's wild to me. That's a joke in also, parodies. Like, what they did was a parody.
What a letdown. And I know they alluded to the Mind Flayer looking like a spider because of Henry's drawings in season 4 or whatever. But in terms of character design, Like, how lame.
Oh yeah,
Like,
no, it was
this is the big bad and it's just a rock spider.
kind of looked almost robotic. Like it kind of looked like like even though it was rock, like the way it kind of looked, I'm like this could be like something out of Power Rangers.
Well, like fleshy rock, but yeah.
Yeah,
That
yeah.
so Mike, talk about a reveal. Do you know, and this might be like, especially for diehard fans, I'm probably, 5 years behind. There was a Stranger Things stage production
Yes.
in England, I think between seasons 3 and 4.
Hmm.
And apparently the Duffer brothers saw it or read it or whatever, because it's based on one of their short stories. They're like, this is amazing. We're now going to incorporate this mythology into season 4 and season 5.
Hmm.
I think a lot of the things we're describing, like the Henry mind flayer, that I'm having a hard time saying that. Apparently a lot of the stuff that were, and the wormhole, the experiments, all of this stuff, the Henry's memory of this of high school, all of that is based in the play. If you had seen the play, that would have made a lot more sense.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll take it a step further. What I heard was this entire show was one season. Like Stranger Things, they had their one season idea, and then everything else since then has not been part of a grand plan. They've just been trying to figure it out as they go.
Oh,
Which to me is extremely apparent and backed up by what you're saying, because it means 2 or 3 seasons into their plan, they're like, "Oh, this stage play's amazing. We'll incorporate this in here." Like
right.
I don't think they knew. Like I
That's, yeah,
sometimes,
they didn't
yeah,
they didn't have a like a grand
yeah.
finale planned.
Yeah,
But
and
I think
there was all this stuff going around about them saying, "Oh, we always knew from episode 1 what the last shot of the show would be." Well, it's
sure,
true,
sure.
sure, but that's one shot. That doesn't mean you
And you
know
didn't
how
know
the show's
anything
going
in
to end.
between.
You know anything in between. You just knew it was going to end at the D&D game, which makes total sense because of how
It
the
starts.
season starts. Like that all makes total sense. Like that's not genius. That's just understanding storytelling. So fine, we'll give you that. They clearly didn't have a plan because this season was just over bloated with too much other things trying to be like, here's the plot armor that we're throwing in there to make everything work, here's this dark matter energy, and here's all this stuff to just make everything work. And it was unnecessary because you had us with at least 4 seasons. You could argue 3 or 2.5 good ones or 3 good ones, whatever, of really good kind of small scale but big scale. They did big scale well by smaller stories, emotional stories, getting us to like the characters, getting us to like the people. You had us, and you completely ruined it, not for lack of funding, not for lack of time, not for lack of interest, just because you weren't capable of doing it. So it's not like what happened with Game of Thrones. It's its own problem, and it's so much worse because you had the time, you had
And
the
the
money,
money.
and you wanted to be there.
Yeah, you didn't they just didn't stick the landing. I
Yeah.
have so I want to return to the dark matter because I think that
Yes.
that stuff's hilarious. But so put a pin in that thought. But still about the stage play. I saw one. So I'm reading. I'm like I had to Google, or I saw something on social media that like outlined the timeline, and I'm like, okay, thank goodness there's a timeline that I can understand. And then the comment was like, this isn't a fan made timeline, this is canon based on the stage play. And I was like, whoa, 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 hold up. So I had to like read them. I had to read the plot synopsis of the stage play.
Which we
And
know
anyways,
you don't like having to do research for the thing you're
yeah,
watching.
no, okay,
Yeah.
so this is my point, but it's actually, I read, someone else had this point, a fan mentioned this. The Duffer brothers really fumbled the bag because they have a partnership with Netflix. Why did Netflix not film the stage play between now, like season 4 and season 5, release it? And in fact, this person said they should release it but put it behind a paywall the way Disney does. But and then maybe like after a certain period make it available to Netflix, and then watch season 5 and then have season 5. Because it's not like your Marvel stuff, Mike, where oh, you have a bunch of TV shows, but it's on the same platform, so like you can catch up on the TV shows. It was a stage play in England.
Mm-hmm.
Who like what? 1,000 people got to see that, and they've based season massively worldwide phenomena, season 4 and season 5, on a stage play. How many people did you think saw that? I don't know what the runtime was, but I can't imagine that.
Yeah, like again, like you're saying, a couple thousand,
Yeah,
depending upon what theater and how long it runs. And yeah, like you
you don't
can't,
make it accessible for people to fill in the plot holes. Are you kidding
yeah,
me?
and that makes it really really tough because you do sit here with this kind of confusing fifth season, which is the best way to describe it. And to learn that, well, it actually would have been less confusing if you knew this piece of information. To me, that's not fair. That's not how it should be. You should be able to tell your story in a clean, concise, clear way, which they didn't do. So that's a fault on them. Like, I actually will blame writing and direction for this one. Like, I don't
Definitely
think.
show to me this felt like, sorry to interrupt Mike, but this definitely felt like a showrunner problem, because
Yes.
I appreciate that at a certain point the showrunners or the show creators, they don't have they don't necessarily direct every episode, they don't necessarily write every episode, but it's the showrunner's job, correct me if I'm wrong Mike, because I think of the show Hannibal with Brian Fuller, and he's done this with all his shows. He has creative control over the entire season, and
Oh
he
yeah.
vetoes
Yeah.
things, and he provides the writers with like the overarching
Yeah.
points he wants to convey. So to me this was a showrunner problem, because I noticed that different writers, different directors per episode, which definitely isn't unusual for television. Typically television is different directors per episode, but there was, yeah, there, it lacked that kind of like cohesive vision that other showrunners would have. Um, Definitely wild. I also want to mention that I'm not adverse to tie in media, even if it is a little bit consumeristic and capitalist. I think of Twin Peaks did that with, they released the diaries of Laura Palmer either before season 1 of Twin Peaks or just afterwards, and it provided additional information to make the viewing experience more rich because it filled in some plot points. Again, I don't think that's wrong, and in fact it's kind of an interesting way to engage with media. But if the thing is not accessible, Mike,
Mm-hmm.
like, I couldn't go out and watch the stage play if I wanted to,
Mm-hmm.
as
Mm-hmm.
far as I know, unless it's on YouTube, like a bootleg version. So
Yeah.
that's just wild to me.
Yeah, and
It was, what a crazy creative decision.
and you can pull inspiration and get your ideas from really anywhere you want. You just have to stick landings. And I think that's part of the
And make it understandable.
yeah, that's part of the problem with this season is it just didn't stick the landing. Again, with that being said, we're going to get into some positives. There are positives to get into. I think there's elements of the finale specifically after the action stopped that they got right.
Oh
But
yeah.
that just shows you, to me, the strength of this show was always the personal one-on-one connections, the more intimate scenes, the more dialogue driven moments, as opposed to what I just felt was too messy and convoluted and kind of
The
missing.
sci-fi stuff.
Yeah, and I think it just didn't, yeah, it didn't do a great job. So we do want to get into some positives here.
But first,
Um,
Mike, we got to talk about the dark matter.
oh yes, Dark Matter. You want to get back to that? Yeah.
So one of these moments where I was like, what happened was all of a sudden when Jonathan and Nancy are in the room and it's melting, we find out that um Dustin's theory is wrong, which takes like way too long. We found out like 5 times that his theory was wrong before
Mm-hmm.
that scene is concluded. And so it's melting, it's melting, it's melting. And then all of a sudden the room stops melting. And I guess you need to have a physics degree to understand why, because I certainly didn't. I was like,
Oh,
okay, they're going to explain this.
yeah, I have no idea why it stopped.
Apparently, dark matter stabilizes.
I I don't know anything about this. Even Dustin said it's theoretical physics, so I don't know how. I think it's all based in theory.
And they're like, literally for half the episode, no, stop. It's going to end the world. It's going to end the world. And then it doesn't end the world. And yet they still use that theory for the finale of how they're going to.
Well, to be fair though, shooting it once with a shotgun and a bunch of
Fair.
explosives like blowing up are two different things. So I think like because even I think there's a line in there. It might have been very quick, but I think Dustin even says to Steve, "I don't know why we're still here. Like I don't know why.
Right.
I don't understand why." And so I think the theory they come up with again, they didn't explain this very well or at all. What I'm maybe telling myself is they decided
They
we need a
didn't
bigger
dedicate a
explosion.
overhead
No,
projector slide
the
to
one
this.
time you should have explained it to us because most of us don't understand basic physics, let alone whatever you're
Experimental.
trying to, yeah, whatever you're trying to explain to us here. So I don't think they knew quite why that happened, but I think the theory was, well, we'll just blow it up
Right.
with bigger explosives, which then therefore works. So I think so, but again, the question though is, so I can get past that, and I can say, okay,
Right.
that is, so the dark matter didn't explode because the shooting it with a gun wasn't enough. You got to do other things. Why still did it melted everything around them? Why did the melty glue stuff get like harden over? Why did that happen?
Instantly.
Yeah, like that I don't
Well,
under like. Did
because
it
they
dry
alluded,
up or?
I read a fan, or like, I don't think it's a theory or just like a comment, was that when it initially melted, which they don't explain why, as far as I know, like it melted once before, because when they're climbing up the stairs and they see like kind of like the mummified soldiers, they're like, oh well, it melted and stabilized once before.
Hmm.
And that explains like the soldiers stuck in it.
Okay.
But like it doesn't explain how it was literally instantaneous, because like it's happening. They toss the ring and then it's not sticky or anything. So I don't even understand the wormhole. I don't know. I don't really understand why Papa made the wormhole. What that had to do with Vecna, I don't know. Anyways, so
Well, I
there
think
was definitely
Vecna made the wormhole. I think.
no, the doctor, the original Dr. Brenner made the wormhole. It was his notebooks,
Oh, okay.
and that Destin steals, and then they use that to defeat Vecna. But and Vecna made the Abyss, which is the second world. Or the
Oh,
Mind Flayer made the Abyss.
Vecna. No, it would be the Mind Flayer, right? Because Vecna's Henry, and Henry was like cast aside to this world by El. But that whole time, Papa's trying to figure out who's like Henry. Like he's trying to find other people like Henry, right? So he's
See, all of that, the experiment stuff makes sense to me, is fine. And then when they introduce even the upside down, you're like, okay, it's a psychic dimension. Fire, fair. They're, whatever. It's psychic stuff. But then you find out, oh, it's not paranormal, it's science. And I'm like, no, you lost me. You're starting, because apparently the upside down, they're like, oh, the upside down wasn't a separate dimension, it was a bridge to another dimension. And
yeah.
the ups, so I'm like, I don't know. I
It's
don't
so
know.
confusing. This show is so confusing.
They got too
It started out so clear
simple.
and interesting and simple and really well made.
And I
And
should say
I
simple in a good way.
yes,
Like, not
yes,
like,
absolutely.
oh, simple,
Yeah.
elementary. It was in the sense that the story was tight and a
Yeah.
mystery.
Yeah, and I think even as it went along, I really liked a lot of the second season. I really liked the third season. The fourth season was a nice follow up. The third season had its issues, but still had enough good things to bring me back. This fifth season really jumped the shark for me. Like it just didn't stick the landing in the way I wanted it to. It felt like a different show. It felt like they introduced too many different themes and elements and a different style almost than what we got used to, and I just don't think it worked. But I do want to quickly talk about the finale
Yes.
because I do think this is where they did some things well.
The last
Which
40
the
minutes.
last 40 minutes exactly. I thought the way they wrapped up everything about the characters, the way they gave them kind of their final moments together, the ending things, especially with that D&D game. I thought all of that was extremely well done.
Agreed. I don't, and even so there's lots of fan buzz now about the fate of Elle.
Mm-hmm.
Is she dead? Is she not dead? I think that also was very well handled. And
I
I think
agree.
I saw another interesting comment, people are complaining about that. And then the comment said, we're just not used to any viewers aren't used to having to determine the endings themselves anymore.
You know what it reminded me of is the kind of end of Christopher Nolan's Batman series, where it sort of ends with this idea that is Batman actually alive still or not? Is Bruce Wayne still alive or not? And it gave me that similar feel of either way, the ending was solid, and it is
Yeah.
open to interpretations because both scenarios are likely. Like they set it up so well. It could honestly just be Mike hoping, right? He might
Yeah.
honestly not know anything. He might just be hoping that this is what happened. It could be happening, could make sense. And even for those kids just in the world of the show, I'm sitting here going, that's probably enough to fuel them, to allow them to move on, to be able to get past this is even a 1% chance that Elle's alive, having a better life somewhere else, gives them kind of that strength and enough to kind of move
Hope.
forward. Because yeah, I think they've been through so much as a group that was just enough, I think.
Yeah, I think the ending was very well handled. Oh my gosh, I'm really stumbling on my words tonight, Mike. What's new? Same year, new year, same problem. But anyways, I thought, and this is again, I know we're talking about positives, and I know I gripe about this all the time. I think we have an epidemic when it comes to editing our
Mm-hmm.
media.
Mm-hmm.
Why was the last 40 minutes should have been its own episode, and they should
Yeah.
have called it
Oh,
epilogue?
for sure. I mean, again, I guess maybe because they wanted to release it
Yeah, they
in
wanted it in
theaters.
theaters.
The fact that they did do that definitely meant maybe that they had a plan for that all along. Yeah, that should have been its own episode. It could have just been an epilogue episode because it was well written. It was tight. Those 40 minutes flew by. It gave each character an appropriate send off for who that character is, left some hope in there, but also still had this sadness of sometimes things change in a big way. And one of my favorite shot and moment was, I mean, I liked how each kid went up the stairs after they put their D&D book on the shelf. But that feeling within each of them of being like, when we go up this staircase, our world changes. And that doesn't necessarily mean it's for the bad. Like they're all probably going to grow up and have lives and have moments in their lives that are better than the moments they had as a kid. But you lose that sense of losing something through childhood, I thought came through really clear when Mike turns around and looks down and sees his younger sister Holly with her friends grab the D&D book, jump into it, start arguing and behaving like they do as a kid. This sense of that's gone for me. She has that now. I'm moving on to the next phase. I will never have this again. It's like a poetic sadness that I think worked really well. I thought the show
Yeah,
like hit it on the head perfectly.
I read that the creators all along wanted this to be a coming of age story,
Mm-hmm.
like in the traditional sense of like, the movies you would have watched in the 80s. And so exactly what you're saying, Mike, 100% agree. That sort of bittersweet growing up is hard. It's hard leaving behind those things, but now that they have this sense of closure about Elle, they're able to do it. I felt that the scene with the older teens was very powerful about how, we're going to come back every month to see each other. And, Mike, maybe you feel differently, but I moved away from my hometown. And like, yeah, sure, you stay in touch for the first little while, and then slowly it fizzles out. You get married, you start having kids, you change careers, people move. And so to me, that the scene with the older kids was so powerful, probably because I'm, in my 30s and not in my 20s. If you were in your 20s, I'm sure the scene with the core group would have been pretty impactful. But I thought that's where it's so surprising that clearly the brothers who created the series have some sense of storytelling,
Oh yeah.
right? And like they just somehow kind of got lost between season 3 and season 5.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know quite what happened. Maybe they just got like the story got away from them, I guess you could say. But yeah, the last 40 minutes, chef's kiss, excellently done.
Hmm.
The couple things I want to mention, I thought the acting this season was a little bit spotty.
Oh, yes, it definitely
Um,
was. Yeah.
I also am very confused with how old Holly's supposed to be.
Yeah, that's a little unclear.
I think it was I think it was poor casting or maybe poor character design. She felt 14, but they dressed her like she was 7.
I think she's supposed to be younger
9.
than, yeah, like, yeah, something like that, right? Like, and I mean, I don't know how old this actor is. I don't really know her. Um, but I definitely think they were like, she's obviously older because they always do that. But I think, yeah,
And
she is probably 14, 15 herself,
I don't
right?
even
Like,
think she was a poor actress. I just think she was not she didn't come across as young enough. Like she had a
mm-hmm,
maturity to her.
mm-hmm.
Um yeah, that didn't work. People loved Derek. I wasn't too hot on Derek. I didn't think he
No,
was as a delightful Derek. I don't think he was as great as the
Derek was a one liner that, like, fine, like you can have your big moments, but I honestly, there, I wouldn't write home about Derek. There was much there.
I thought Murray was great as always. The guy who plays Murray,
Yeah.
excellent. I thought Dustin, Steve, excellent. Even Nancy and Jonathan, excellent. There's been a lot of talk online about Millie Bobby Brown, but she's changed her name to her married name, and I forget it. I forget the whole spiel, but essentially Millie Bobby Brown, who plays Elle, she definitely felt poorly directed because I know she can act better than that.
Oh, without a doubt, she's way better than the way you know she was acting in this particular season. Like, I don't think this was well directed at all, and I mean, I think, maybe a lot of these actors were done and they wanted to be finished with the series, but
Sure.
I think they're all talented enough that if they have strong direction, they're going to be able to
And they're
make it work.
friends in real life, so you'd think
Hmm.
that they would want to give it their all. And then I definitely had a problem with Will's acting,
Yeah.
but he hasn't been strong the last couple of seasons. I
Oh
think it's
no,
like
I agree. I think he has a lot he needs to do differently to grow as an actor personally. Like, I don't think he's that great. Yeah.
I think it's a problem of it's kind of like the Harry Potter kids. Just because they were semi talented as children doesn't
Mhm.
necessarily mean you grow into an adult
No,
actor.
no, and I think there's others that as they've grown up, they have continued to be strong, or have gotten better. But yeah, I think he's one of the ones that did not happen with. It's interesting that you had brought up Jonathan. Jonathan's the one that I don't think is a great actor personally.
Uh, I
I
guess
don't think
like
he's
to me
super
he's
strong.
neutral.
Yeah, yeah, he's kind of like maybe fine at times. Yeah. Okay, we do have to wrap this up
Yes,
with, I think, overall, we can just say kind of how we felt about everything. Like, I think that last 40 minutes definitely bumped things up for me because I thought that
definitely.
the finale was good. The emotion was handled well. They did a great job. I really like how they wrap things up in that sense. I just think overall the season was over bloated, was too much of this kind of trying to be epic as opposed to just telling a good story. And if epicness happens to arrive, then there you go. So yeah, overall, I'm not really impressed by the season itself, though the final moments were good, and I think was a good send off for the characters.
It's hard to give it our traditional rating because it is a whole season.
Yeah, it's
And
we don't really have something for TV seasons. Yeah.
the last 40 minutes is a see it. I think what you could probably do, Mike, is you could watch the first episode, read the plot synopsis for episodes 2 to 7, and then watch the last episode.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But the science will not make sense to you.
Nope, it won't. It definitely won't. Yeah, and I think it's a shame because I think the show had a lot of really good things going for it, but just couldn't stick that landing. Before we go, Taylor, we have something fun coming up. Our January 22nd episode will be fan questions. We
Woohoo!
haven't done a mailbag in a while. We are going to give everyone an early deadline, though. So if you could try to get your questions in by Tuesday, January 13th, by end of day, we'll include that in episodes. If you do get some in after, we'll try to slip maybe a fan question in here or there in the upcoming episodes after that. But yeah, get us your fan questions by January 13th. The entire episode will be dedicated to all of you. So we'll just answer your questions, and whatever topics come up is what we'll talk about.
Go see some movies.
Thank you for listening to You Had Me at Skip It, a Soul One Arts Inc. podcast. This podcast is produced by Mike Shepard and Austin Spinner Summer. It is a project of Soul One Arts Inc. To learn more about Soul One and all the great work that Soul One is doing in the arts community, especially in film, theater, and other performing arts, visit soul1arts.ca. You can contribute to this podcast by visiting soul1arts.ca and going to the podcast tab. You'll find all the information on You Had Me at Skip It and how you can get your questions read on air each week. Thank you again for listening.